It is the most acrimonious years of the Beatles that are being brought to light by a book that has caused controversy. Authors Stephen Gaines and Peter Brown, who had been the personal assistant to the band's manager Brian Epstein and had stepped in to oversee the band's affairs after Epstein's passing, were responsible for writing The Love You Make, which was first published in 1983. However, the band was left furious as a result of the discoveries that were made in the book. Gaines recalled that Paul and Linda McCartney tore the book apart completely and burnt it in the fireplace, page by page. There was a pact of silence that surrounded the Beatles, and they believed that no one would come out to speak the truth. This was known as an omerta. Now, Gaines and Brown are releasing a follow-up book that is loaded with interview transcripts because they were inspired by Peter Jackson's critically acclaimed documentary Get Back. The Love You Make was written from these transcripts. An incident that took place between Mick Jagger, the frontman for the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles, which left Jagger feeling very uncomfortable, is explained in one of the book's chapters. Alan Klein, an unscrupulous accountant who had been hired to manage the Beatles, was the subject of this information. Klein finally fired all of the band members who had been working with them at the time. Gaines suggested to the Times that the reason is because Klein offered Lennon's wife, Yoko Ono, $1 million for her movie project. This was the reason that Lennon was such a huge lover of Klein. Brown sought to move the band away from Klein at the time, and he did so by arranging a meeting with Jagger so that Jagger could explain who this Alan Klein was. On the other hand, Brown noted that Lennon, in his wonderful way, had Klein show up to the same meeting, which was quite awkward. According to him, this approach by Lennon made Mick feel very uncertain and uneasy. McCartney had a disagreement with a few of his bandmates, which led to him declining the opportunity to play on a particular Beatles song. This information was previously disclosed. McCartney, who is now 81 years old, was asked about the time when the band recorded the track She Said, for the album Revolver. He responded by saying, "I'm not sure, but I think it was one of the only Beatle records I never played on." He went on to say, "I believe we had a Barney or something in common, and I said, and they said, well, we'll do it." It was McCartney's belief that George Harrison was the one who played bass on the track.